1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, and welcome to another Patreon episode of Dopey, the podcast on drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. It's literally like 94 degrees in here, humidity like 94%. I'm joined by Howard Beach Bucksbaum on my left, and this guy on the phone is a super dopey fucking OG dope, fucking Scott Wick. What's happening?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
I have a lot of questions. Okay? First of all, you're representing the Heat after the Celtics
That's
beat
right.
them.
Hey, I stay fan, man. I ain't scared to sport the Heat shit. They beat us fair and square, you know.
Can I just say, I'm a sick Knicks fan, right? Sick
I'm aware.
Knicks fan. But somehow, when the Celtics beat Brooklyn, the Celtics somehow became my hobby team. Like, I've never thought I could be a Celtics fan, and I don't like the Heat. Jimmy Butler, I don't like I don't like Eric Spoelstra. I love Pat Riley, but I fucking hate him because he betrayed us for y'all.
Is this why you brought me on here?
No, you just happen to be wearing the Heat hat. I have a lot of questions. We'll start with that. We don't need to talk about that. What I want to know before we do anything else is, I know that you're aware that every last Saturday of the month, we do the Dopey Patreon Zoom. You never come, and if you do come, you never in it. Why not? I've always wanted to ask. Why not?
Well, I mean, first of all, I've come many a times.
Yes, you've come.
So excuse number two, it is late in the night. Like my bedtime, you're at 9:30 is my bedtime. So you're hitting me at a bad time of night.
Too late.
And I'm horrible at tests, bro. I don't like trivia and shit. It gives me anxiety. I always suck at those not stupid, at the Kahoots and trivias, and I'm on my phone, so I can't play fair. I need like a laptop to truly do the trivia. But I do miss seeing everybody. The
Kahoot is the least of it. Chilling, hanging out, talking shit. Maybe next time we can have you on and Dan Allen and do a little Celtics Heat business. Right?
See, that I can do. Because then we can talk about 2012. We could talk about how many rings? 4 rings since 06. Like, yeah, that I can do. I definitely, with Dan Allen, that sounds good.
The Heat are a manufactured dynasty. It's bullshit. It's fucking LeBron James will. If he wants to show up and bring his buddies, whatever. Fucking Pat Riley. How did Madison Square Garden fail with Pat Riley? But we don't need to talk about that. What we're gonna do, I think, for June, we've talked about this. We're gonna do the Dopey Patreon Zoom the last Wednesday of the month, and not 9:30, but 8:30. What do you think about that?
Okay, that's easier for me to get to for sure.
And if you were to make a decision, right? If you were to pick, and like you don't want to do the Kahoot. Like, what would you do? You're a Zoom master. You're a master of the Zoom. What do you think?
I mean, people love to hear from Allen, Mr. Allen.
He doesn't like it. They make him feel like a piece of meat.
Has he been on before?
Yes.
He has. I missed that. Yeah. But, I mean, here's my idea. If you did like a 15-minute or a 20-minute speaker meeting with Allen or Linda about like your addiction and how they dealt with it, like that shit would be interesting, like something like that, and then have people share after. I mean, you know, you'd have to get Linda to do it or to get Alan to do it and to stick around for questions after. You know, that would be tough because we're a tough bunch. But I mean, that's a cool ass idea. But
if you say so yourself.
If I
you
do
just
say
said
so
the
myself.
idea, and then you said that's a cool ass idea.
I mean, it is a good idea though, isn't it?
All right. What about if we had Howie? You know Howie?
Yeah,
You're
I
familiar
see
with
him
Howie's
on
work?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am very.
What if we did a
shout out to Howie, since we're doing shout outs lately? So many shout outs.
Do you hate the shout outs?
Dude, first of all, how do you do a shout out to somebody who's there? That's like me saying, like I just did, shout out to Howie. He's here. I don't have to shout him out. He's there. You shout out somebody who's not here.
Hold on one sec. Howie, come on the screen. We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
Howie, this is Scott.
Shout out to Scott.
Shout out to Scott. Shout out to Howie. Listen, I personally, normally I could see not liking the shout outs, but like I think there's an absurdist quality
Who's
to it that
shouting out?
he shouted out my Jay,
Oh,
Fentanyl
of course,
Jay
of
is on the
course. He's
show.
allowed to do
One
My
of
dad
50
comes on.
shout outs. One of 50 shout outs. Go ahead. Continue.
So you the shout out. Do you like anything about Jay?
All right. Here's my problem. Is that if the fact that Pompano got brought up and I didn't get a shout out, I think that's where the problem exists. I think that's what it is. I think I have a
that's
deep
my
resentment.
fault.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
think I have a
bad.
deep resentment that Pompano got mentioned and I didn't get mentioned. You know, like that's what it is. Now Jay's
All right.
cool, man. Jay's
Listen,
cool. I like Jay.
That's Scott. That's my fault. So I want to do a shout out to Pompano. Shout out to Wick.
Yeah, he's here, but
Jay, right, is he's a lightning rod of controversy. People equally love. I figured people would just love him, but people love him and hate him in the same exact proportion, which is a lightning rod of controversy. See, more people don't care about Howie or dislike him, so he's not the same lightning. Here, put your face in there. He's not the same lightning rod of controversy that Fentanyl Jay is.
Yeah.
All right, get out of here, Howie. I want to tell you about Scott. Check it out.
for it. Shout out.
Scott, shout out to Scott, shout out to Howie. Actually, Howie, please come back in. I like seeing you in there. I want you to tell Howie about how Dopey and Dopey Zoom in particular changed your life. I think Howie would love that story.
Yeah.
I think Howie will ask you questions because Howie loves asking questions.
Go.
yeah. Well, I mean, so Dopey. When did Dopey come out? Like 2015, 2016, right? Something like that.
2000, the end of 2015.
Right.
Shout
so
out to
I probably
2015. It's amazing.
I
year.
probably I probably started listening. Not for me, it wasn't. I probably started listening around episode 30, in the 30s somewhere, and I was listening to a couple of different podcasts, like drug podcasts, and then Danny Boy O'Connor was the one that really caught my ear, and that's what kind of kept me listening week after week.
Two questions.
And,
Two questions,
yeah.
real quick. Number one, what other podcasts were you listening to back then?
I was listening. Well, I mean, aside from recovery podcasts or just recovery in general, because there was another one. I think there was one called Dope Stories that had a very short lifetime, and it was like I forget. It was so long ago, but it was a dude. It was a professional poker player, and they had it was called Dope Stories, so you have to search it.
I know.
Yeah, I can't remember if I was listening to Share yet or not, but that was like those two. That was this and Dopey was my only connection to recovery, and I didn't want any part of, and I didn't really even know I was an addict at that point. I was a full-blown cokehead, daily use, functional, and at work I used to listen to Dopey. And then
you want to hear something crazy? Today I got this message on Instagram. Hey, I love your podcast. It makes me laugh my face off. I'm newly sober 8 days. I'm on the episode with Danny Boy. He cannot talk about anything but himself and his path. I don't want to sound like that ever. it just came in. Isn't that so funny? Isn't that it's weird? Is it odd or is it odd? No, I liked it too. He likes to talk though. I liked it too. But anyway, back to you. So you're using and you're listening to Dopey.
Listening to Dopey, and probably, and I sent in an email. I want to say, I think it was episode 121. I sent in an email as John, and then Chris read the email on
Why
air.
John?
I just was scared. I didn't want to be like identified or whatever, and it just it was cool to me, And then after that point, I had a little back and forth with Chris. And, got a mention on the show, and that was really fucking cool to me. So I like that automatically. I mean, before then it was my favorite, but that's when I was felt like part of the family. And then so I quit my daily coke use around June 2018. And this was all an influence from Dopey because I didn't have any other recovery in my life,
Right.
Along with all the consequences that were happening with my family. And, I was about to lose my family is where I was at. And I continued smoking weed, drinking, just quit the coke. And then right around when COVID started is when we started Dopey Zoom, and then from there is when I really, after about a week or so after Dopey Zoom started, I gave the abstinence a shot, and and just took a big role in getting that Dopey Zoom, getting the meetings going and hosting and I wasn't the only one. I mean, there's a big group, and there continues to be a large amount of people that are involved in keeping that thing moving. But
shout out to Dopey Nation Zoom.
Yeah, shout out Dopey Nation Zoom. Even though you guys aren't here, but I'm gonna shout you out anyway.
Shout out to Colleen MC.
MC,
who was part of that.
Yes, and that was a big.
There was a woman named Colleen MC. The people who started it in the first place was Ben Crawford, Colleen MC. Who else were the originals?
You got Jeff May, Colleen Marie, Steph was a big part of it. Liz Ann was a big part of that early bunch. And it wasn't just the people that were involved in hosting, because you also got like Slam, Double Upper Deck or Duncan. He was a big part of being there every day.
Downtown Ray Brown was part of the
Downtown Ray Brown. Yeah. I mean, he was there. And I'm going to draw a blank, but there was a ton of people that showed up every day that kept this thing moving and kept it fun. And, like Steph was a big part of it and continues to be. And now you have like a whole new group of people, like the people that are in Dopey Zoom now. It's a whole completely different group than what it was before. Now you still have some of the Zoom OGs in there. But I'm not as much involved with it, and it's still moving. It's still new hosts, and there's people I've never even met I'll run across. So it's really cool, and that kind of introduced me to going to meetings, because I've never been to a meeting before that, and then that got me involved and kind of scratching my head like maybe I should get into trying this 12-step thing, and I started going to 12-step meetings on Zoom. And I found a sponsor through Dopey, and I worked the steps remotely with a dude through Dopey, and here I am, and look how good I'm doing.
Looks like Dax Shepard. He bought a house, has a new career. It's fucking all happening. It's all fucking happening. Now I have two questions. Like, have you been to an in real life meeting at this point?
No, never been.
I bet you I mean, you live on Pompano Beach, right?
Well, now I live in Oakland Park, which is in Fort Lauderdale, which is like 15 minutes south of Pompano.
I bet you they have a sick beach meeting there.
They don't, man. They don't like. I don't want to. I've drove by some of these meetings. They're not on the beach. I don't know, and my attempt, and here, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. There's also an element there that I am. Paranoid into running into people I know, and I know they're there for the same reasons, and so there's an element there that makes me scared. I just don't have the time either, man. Like, it's nonstop. I work, 2 kids, baseball practice, football practice, all this other things where Zoom is something that I can check into,
sure.
And it's only taking up an hour of my day, and I don't want to sound like I'm being a lazy addict, but it's the truth. It's tough for me to dedicate a 2 to 3 hour window on a Wednesday night, to go, I can't even make it to Patreon.
But that's not even the point though. The point is, when you started listening, you were using, now you're in recovery, you go to meetings when you can, it's how you live. Like, how much has your life changed in the past, 3 years? What you have, like, 2.5 years now? Something like that? Just
so March 28th was 2 years, and that's abstinence. And prior to that, June 2018 was the last daily coke use.
Just before Chris died.
Just before Chris died.
Right. Then.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean that. First of all, Howie, how incredible is that this happened? That Dopey did this thing, and that Scott Wick is like one of the more entertaining people in Dopey Nation social media. He only saves it for Facebook, but it's very potent stuff. He's got good material in Dopey Facebook. Now, what do you think about his story, Hal?
I think it's crazy. I think it's great. I never knew, well, I guess I did sort of know that you have a little bit of a reach beyond the show through the Zoom thing.
Well, I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I have nothing to do with it. It was
community that
it was the echoes of the Dopey Show within the Dopey Nation Zoom, like, and they did their own thing, and it was like, and it was, and they have their problems, and then they solve their problems, and then they do the next thing. But it has, all I have to do with it is I'm proud that I have anything to do with it at all. Besides that, I have nothing to
It's
do with
inspired.
it. Inspired
Yes.
from Dopey, but
Right.
it's on its own
cool.
steam. And all those people who still do it are awesome. And when you do it, it's fucking awesome. Now, 2 questions, all right? First of all, do you have a Dopey story you might want to drop?
A Dopey story, huh?
Sure.
Yeah. So, all right. So I got 2. All right. I'll do the diaper one because that one's quick, and then if you want to go deeper, we got another one. But so one of the like little hustles that I used to do, right? I never really was like, I wasn't like a huge thief or anything, but I did try to find ways to like make money, And so my second son was probably 6 months old at the time. And, I was full blown into my Coke addiction. And I used to buy, diapers fucking weekly by the box. And at the grocery store here, they had a deal where if you bought 2 boxes of diapers, that you get $10 off, And one of the things that I was able to do, I had this debit card that if you were able to put $100 credit on it. Okay. You couldn't do it as a cash, you couldn't get like $100 out from the ATM. But if I went to Publix or, a grocery store and I were to spend, say, $90, I can return that and I can get that $90 back in cash. As long as it was under a certain amount, they'll give you that money back in cash. So I used to do that a lot, It wasn't really a hustle, but it was just a way for me to get cash when I didn't have any. So I go, and the most expensive thing in a grocery store is a box of diapers, So I buy, I see they have the deal. So 2 boxes of diapers for $50. Perfect. That'll get me a fucking bag. And I go and I return it and they give me $60 cash back. So something was a glitch in the system when I tried to do, when I tried to buy diapers. They were only supposed to give me 50 cash back. So instead they give me 60 cash back. So then I'm like, hold on a second. I just made $10. So then I went to the next grocery store. And, first I bought a bag of Coke, and then I went to the next grocery store. I said, let me see if this shit works again, and I go and I buy, 2 boxes of diapers for $50. And then I literally walk out the door and walk right back in, and then they return it. And then they gave me $60. So like, this is a hustle, So that day I just got coked up, and all day long, all I did was go to the grocery store. I must've hit like probably 15 different grocery stores. And I just kept buying diapers and returning diapers all day and made like 150 cash. So, it's not illegal, but it is kind of one of those addict things,
I love that story. Simple, to the point, profitable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, have you watched Obi-Wan Kenobi yet?
No, I just seen the ad for it yesterday. I just seen
It's
it.
pretty good.
Is it?
The first 2 episodes are up. It's pretty good. I
I'll
see the
check it
Star
out.
Wars poster behind you. It's really
This is my son's room.
well. Sorry.
It's the only
Maybe
quiet
you're-
place in the house.
Maybe you're not as interested in Star Wars as I am.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, though, I recommend it. It's very relaxing. I really
Okay.
like it.
I'll check it out.
Now, we're going to do a quick email, and then we're going to be gone.
Cool.
Okay? Here, I just got this email from a woman in Israel, the land of milk and honey. You ready? Howie,
Yeah.
you want to pop in for this too?
I'm so fucking hot. I feel like I'm going to pass out.
I know. We're just going to finish this, then do a daily reflection.
Yeah.
Scott, you want to do a daily reflection too?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Nice. Oh, dude, that's the fucking other thing. You're not going to DopeyCon 3?
Oh man, I was scared you were going to bring this up. I'm 90% not going. I'm 90% not going.
It's like fucking $50 to fly from Florida. Just come for a fucking day and fly back.
There's a possibility. There's a couple of reasons. I'm sorry. As my wife walks in, there's your reason right there.
I understand.
But
I get that. My wife doesn't want me to do anything.
and you do it. What the fuck?
No, I do very little. I do very, very little. That isn't approved.
Yeah,
I just do
I'm
this.
not saying I'm. Go ahead.
First of all, bring your wife, please.
that's the only way it's going to happen is if I
Bring
do
your
that.
wife to New
Yeah.
York. Take her out for a nice meal. DopeyCon's going to be a hell of a show. It's going to be Cats is served at DopeyCon.
Is it going to be this
That-
hot?
That made it a better chance.
Brandon Novak, Andy Roy, Amy Dopey Dresner, fucking Aaron Carr so far. That's the lineup so far. Dr. Drew said he'll come if we want him to.
But Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre did not say that.
Will it be this hot at DopeyCon?
It will only be this hot in attractiveness, but not in temperature.
Shout out
all
to
right.
Publix.
Huh? Shout out to Publix. Shout out to
Shout out
Scott's
Publix.
wife. We want Scott's wife. It's somehow it looks cooler in Miami than in New York right now. You're like bundled up. It's like fucking 150 degrees in here.
Yeah, it's nice in here, bro. It's perfect.
You should tell your son to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi. You should watch it with him.
No, I'll watch it. I'll check it out.
I mean, maybe it's not good, but I found it very relaxing. And tonight, the Sex Pistols show on Hulu starts. I'm very excited about that. But here we go.
Shout
You
out
ready?
to Sex Pixels.
Hi, Dave. I have a very... you're not going to relate to this, so this is going to be really for Howie. So, Scott, just stick around and observe the Jewishness fly, okay? Hi, Dave. I have a very... Howie, pop
All
in.
right.
Just pop in.
I'm so fucking hot.
I have a very rare name here, but I don't care if you say it on the air. Her name is Taryn.
Taryn.
Taryn, and that's the Israeli version of Karen. It's Taryn. I've been listening to Dopey for a really long time before Mark Maron, This American Life, and whatnot. I heard you and Chris when he was still with us. Anyway, I'm from Israel, and I speak Hebrew more than Baruch Atah Adonai, etc. I've been a street kid for a really long time and surviving, and I'm finding it harder and harder with time, but it's cool. I'm alive. I'm in active addiction. They say here, not every day is Purim. And Purim is a big festival in March, Scott, just so you know. Which is
How do you think they say it
Take
there?
note.
not every day is Purim. What do you think they say? Here, let me see your Israeli impression.
Well, that's not Israeli. That's like old New York.
Can you do an Israeli accent?
Israeli accent?
Yeah, do
It's very
it.
like,
No, not every
get
day
out of my
is
store!
not every day is Purim.
No, that's New York. Israeli
do
is
it.
more like, well, I told you what the price is. We're not negotiating on the price.
Not every day is Purim.
Not every
Howard.
day is Purim. Get out of my store!
That's great. That's great. That's fine. Here we go.
closer.
Meaning one day won't be great and others will be great. I'm so tired of this, getting beat up every 2 days and people telling me that I don't even look the part. It's a compliment, but I'm stuck. How do I have the desire to get the desire? Weird. Want some Dopey gear show guys here. They will love it. Please. So that's Taryn. So Taryn, Scotty, how does, or I should say Wick, how does a young woman who's a street kid in Israel get the will? How do they find the desire?
Listen to Dopey, man. You know, get inspired. How do you find the desire? For me, it had to take the consequences to kick in. You know, the bad shit had to happen first, but there was a point that I didn't allow it to get to a point of no return. You know, kind of, you know, you hear the saying like create your own rock bottom kind of a
Right.
deal before it really gets bad.
Right.
Because it could, I tell you, if I went another 3 months, 6 months, if I wasn't dead, something worse would have happened. So the consequence of me possibly losing my family, that was enough for me. But, you know, so don't allow it to get to that point because it will just keep getting worse and worse. And, you know, you choose that path. And,
I don't
you know,
I don't know how old she is, but I mean, how young could she be if she's been listening for, 6 years? You know what I mean? Maybe she started listening when she was a teenager, but, yeah, you got to make a decision. You know what I mean? You can't like the desire to get the desire doesn't come naturally. And when you want it to come, but it doesn't come, you need to just fucking make a decision and then double down and double down and double down. But it's hard, it's hard.
and you have to
it's
sit in
sad.
discomfort. There's going to be a point you're going to have to realize that, regardless of what the substance is, and some are worse than others, there's going to be a point that you're going to sit in discomfort, but once you get beyond that, it gets better than any high that you've ever gotten. I can guarantee you that.
Infinitely with time, it gets better. I agree.
Yes.
So that's good advice for Taryn. Howie, your Israeli accent wasn't bad, I have to say. Scott Wick, thank you for coming back to Patreon and telling a little bit of your story on the old Dopey Show. And everybody, if anybody wants to come on Patreon, I want to get people back in Patreon. So I'm glad you were available, Scott. And fucking stay strong, Dopey Nation.
And toodles for Chris.
And
thank you, man. Appreciate you guys.
I'm face down on the floor. Oh, baby, please, sir, can I have some more?